Good day, here are today's top stories from the Pna Headlines. President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has granted real property tax relief to independent power producers operating under build-operate-transfer contracts with government-owned and controlled corporations. Under Executive Order 83, signed by Marcos on February 13, RPTs and penalties assessed on power generation facilities of IPPs will be reduced and condoned, along with the IPP real property, including any special levies. All interests and penalties on such deficiency liabilities are also condoned, and the concerned IPPs are relieved from payment. Excess RPT payments will be applied to liabilities for succeeding years. The EO was issued to consolidate the government fiscal efforts, stabilize energy prices, and avoid significant economic losses. The Department of Finance earlier said LGUs have threatened action against IPPs operating within their territories after determining that they are not entitled to tax exemptions and privileges. The EO noted that non-operation of these IPPs will lead to substantial losses to the government, higher electricity costs, or rotating power outages. These IPPs are estimated to provide a grid capacity of 3,100 megawatts. The Department of Agriculture warns vendors that it will flag those behind the exorbitant spike in pork prices in local markets. The spokesperson Arnel de Mesa said officials will go around and call out vendors in areas where prices have surged to as high as 450 to 480 pesos per kilogram. He echoed earlier remarks from Agriculture Secretary Francisco Lodal Jr. and hog industry stakeholders that such a price level is considered unreasonable. The DA has postponed the implementation of a maximum suggested retail price for pork for 2 weeks following consultation with agriculture officials, pork producers, retailers, importers, and consumers. De Mesa said the DA agreed to closely look into the cost structure in the entire value chain. Farmers Group sa mga industriya ng agrikultura Executive Director Jason Cainglet advised the DA to defer imposing an MSRP, noting that farm gate prices of pork are starting to drop from 250 pesos per kilogram. For his part, Lodal said, pork prices will be resolved soon, particularly after the commercial availability of the African swine fever vaccine. Meanwhile, the National Food Authority has begun distributing rice stocks to be sold at lower prices by local governments. The first batch was given to cities of San Juan, Valenzuela, and Navotas. At least 67 local government units have indicated their interest in selling NFA rice nationwide. Under the current food security emergency, 2 months' worth of NFA rice will be sold through the Food Terminal Incorporated at 33 pesos per kilogram. These in turn may be sold to consumers at 35 pesos per kilo. Around 150,000 metric tons are expected to be sold within the next 6 months. The Commission on Elections reminds that distribution of ayuda or all kinds of government cash aid is prohibited 10 days before the national and local midterm elections on May 12. Election Officer Attorney John L. Fajardo said distribution of cash assistance including 4Ps, TUPAD, AICS, and ALCAP is covered by the election ban. He said giving away government aid is considered vote buying and a violation of the law. Only programs with exemptions from the Comelec will be allowed to continue throughout the election period. Fajardo also said the Comelec Contrabigay Committee is set to lead investigations on complaints related to vote buying. Meanwhile, candidates are reminded to post their campaign paraphernalia in designated areas as the Comelec continues its Oblan Baklas. The Comelec also reminded candidates to register their official social media accounts that they will use for campaigning online. The crime rate in Metro Manila has dropped by 21.7% from January 1 to February 15, 2025 compared to the same period last year. The National Capital Region Police Office reported the total cases of focused crimes, namely murder, homicide, physical injuries, rape, robbery, theft, and carnapping, dropped from 852 in 2024 to 667 in 2025. Homicide cases dropped the most at 50%, followed by rape cases at 41.5%. Physical injury cases by 38%, murder cases by 34.6%, and theft cases by 23%. In a statement, the NCRPO attributed a decline in focused crimes to its intensified police visibility and continuous intelligence-driven operations against criminals and lawless elements. The NCRPO also reported an increase in crime solution efficiency from 93.9% in 2024 to 95.8% in 2025. It said this is due to the enhanced investigative capabilities and greater cooperation between the police and the judiciary. For his part, NCRPO Chief Police Brigadier General Anthony Aberin cited a strong, consistent, and dependable partnership between police and the community for the decline of crimes in Metro Manila. For business news, airfares may climb this summer after the Civil Aeronautics Board implemented an increase in fuel surcharge. The CAAP upped the fuel surcharge rate for March to level 5 from level 4 in October. The Department of Energy earlier said oil prices are likely to increase due to market fears that the world oil supply will be affected by U.S. sanctions against oil from Russia and Iran. Cebu Pacific President Sandro Lau said the company vows to offer best value fares for more traveling Filipinos. AirAsia Philippines Communications Head First Officer Steve Dailizan also said they are offering piece of fare to help Filipinos save on travel costs. Meanwhile, messaging app Rakuten Viber announced its plans to launch its Viber Pay digital wallet service in the Philippines in the second half of 2025. Over 1 million Filipino users have reportedly registered on the waitlist for Viber Pay, which is expected to start this September. Viber CEO Offer Ayal said the company aims to make messaging and digital payments frictionless by integrating an e-wallet into its app functions instead of switching to different apps. In other news, San Miguel Corporation Chairman Ramon Ang warned the public not to believe online posts using his photo to endorse a likely scam. In a social media post, Ang noted the spread of fake sponsored posts using an old interview manipulated by deep fake technology to make it seem as though he is endorsing investment opportunities, and advised the public to report suspicious links and fake accounts and refrain from sharing personal information online. And that's the latest and the biggest stories on the Pna Headlines. For more news updates, visit our website pna.gov.ph or our Facebook and X account, Philippine News Agency. The Pna Headlines is also streamed via the Servicio Facebook page. You may also watch the Pna Headlines through the Philippine News Agency's YouTube account and via the News and Information Bureau website under the Pna News. I am Stephanie Civiliano. This is the Pna Headlines, bringing stories to unite the nation.